Video is not intended for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki, and welcome to Women of the Fandom. Good morning, Purple Valkyrie, Mark the Infinitely Tired, Chris Persia, the Wrenches are here, ladies and gentlemen. Snorta Poopus Cuber, good morning. Adega Outlaw, the Doctor of Disaster and Destruction, is here, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, my brother Adega. Dave G Sound, good morning, brother. Zacharoth 315, good morning. Snorta Poopus Cuber, hello, Human. Good morning, my friend. Orville Nation PJ, good morning, PJ. Archer Colin, good morning. How are you doing, my brother? And everyone else that is here. Gun Bunny, good morning, Gun Bunny. Psychodorf 9, good morning, my friend. DJ Ronnie G, good morning. Arwin Avalon, Mary's Game Room, good morning, ladies. Good morning, how are you? How are you all doing on this? We are on hump day. Yeah! We are halfway through the week. And a big good morning to my guest this morning, for Women of the Fandom, Louise Sparrow. How are you doing, Louise?
Good morning. I'm doing good, thank you. It's good to be here.
Good. You have been around Valhalla for I can't think of a time you weren't around Valhalla.
It's been about a year now.
Yeah.
Just over a year.
In Orville Nation with the $2 shoot chat, and he says, Louise!
Hi, BJ.
You have got a fan in chat this morning. Thank you, BJ, for that $2 super chat, brother. You've got a fan in chat this morning.
Here's how I found you. I'd seen you on the Latchcombe streams.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy. I remember going over to PJ's and getting in that giant fight with Canuck. It was like a fight to the death. I always talk about that, man. It was like, we had our blades out, and it was like that time on when Kirk fought Spock on Vulcan. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's proper fandom argument, though, isn't it? That's the one where you really enjoy it and then you walk away friends.
Yes. Absolutely. That's one where you're fighting to the death about your opinion. He was yelling at me. I was yelling at him. He's like, you said Picard needed to die. No, I didn't. Somebody did. Well, it wasn't me. Yeah. God help us. And I told PJ knew what was going to happen, because he's like, well, we're going to get together and we're going to talk about Picard. And I'm like, What do you mean? Like, like roasted? And he goes, no, this is a positive stream. I said, well, then why the hell do you want me there? Well, we need somebody that has another opinion. I'm like, oh, okay. I see where you're going here. Oh man, Leia Rose. Good morning. Good morning. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. What got you? What's your first fandom? What got you into fandom? What got you into watching whatever it is you were watching, whether it be Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever? What got you into your first fandom?
So active fandom was Star Trek, but it came from my mum. So she would be watching all of these shows. She got me reading. Probably my first fan experience was probably the Chronicles of Narnia. I loved reading, but once things started coming out more about Star Trek, that was when I really started to interact with other fans and things.
So let's talk about Star Trek.
Okay.
Which series brought you there?
The original. I'd seen that, although I hadn't seen every episode because it was on reruns and sporadic before TNG came out, and there were no videos and DVDs out at the time. And I'd seen the films, and I'd got the script books of the films, and I was really into it. And then I watched TNG when it came on, when it first aired in the UK. So.
And you like TNG?
Yes, I do. I think the thing is that with TNG is that when it really kicked off and we got all of the merchandise and the fan communities and even conventions in the UK started to pop up a bit more. So I got more into it with that, but I was always in to TOS to start with, and Mark's saying that because he knows I don't like the BSG reboot. That's why we debate it.
Oh, we've got to talk about that while you're on here. What's your favorite? I know the answer to this, but what's your favorite Star Trek?
So the original series stands alone. TNG is the one that we lived. When it got to DS9 and Voyager, we picked one, and mine was Voyager, and I got very, very into that. So I can never really pick a favorite because I think they're all their own thing. But that's probably the one I rewatch the most now.
And that's funny because I had the hardest time getting back into Voyager. I'm getting through that first season. It's hard. It's difficult for me. I've watched DS9 countless times. I've watched TNG countless times. If there was a reason why I don't go back and watch those again, it's like, oh, I've watched you dozens of times. But I get to Voyager and I just can't. I don't know why. I just can't. I can't get back into it. And I don't know if it's Tess or. Go ahead.
Those series started the sort of split in the fandom. It was still friendly at that point, but where everyone was like, I love TOS and I love TNG, we all picked a favourite. Although I think, we sort of fit together somewhere where we both liked and respected both. But that started I prefer this style and I prefer this style, and they could be blamed for that. I think
they could, because you had two series going on at the same time until it was over. You had TNG, and then you had DS9 running while TNG was still running. Then when DS9 stood alone, it got Voyager, and Voyager was running while DS9 was running. And then after that, it was over. You didn't get anything till Enterprise, and then Enterprise didn't last that long, which to me was disappointing. But that last season of Enterprise was peak Enterprise. I thought it did great until the very end.
I couldn't get into Enterprise. there were too many things wrong, so I sort of said, okay, well, I'm just going to watch this and I'm going to try not to make a comparison, and it just wasn't holding my attention. And I have to admit, I checked out before we got to the interesting bit that people keep telling me exists. So I keep saying I'm going to go back to it, but I've been saying that for some time. I haven't done it.
Yeah. I could totally understand that. It's a hard show to like. I hated the first season. I absolutely hated the first season. I'm like, you pacifist bitches. We don't want weapons on starships. We left space dock without our phaser arrays. And it's like, wow, really? You just left space dock without your phaser arrays. Okay, did we not learn our lesson? Why in the future did the Enterprise be, oh, tractor beam? We won't have tractor beam installed till Tuesday. Oh, torpedoes. We won't have any torpedoes till Tuesday. Oh, the doctor. He won't be here till Tuesday either. Didn't they learn their lesson? And it's like, yeah, no.
Yeah. I don't know. It just didn't click with me. I will go and give it another try. I think sometimes some series work better with the binge model. Like I didn't get into Babylon 5 until later than everyone else because I tried to watch it and I just saw the special effects and some of the acting. And then my mum bought the videos and said, we're going to watch this. And I got really into it because I could watch one after the other. I think some series just suffer a little bit from that weekly gap.
Yeah.
Whereas others you're really excited for all the time.
And then again, I'm one that was very angry at Amazon for releasing The Expanse in one giant thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was the stupidest model they could do. And then the next season, they came out and they did like 3 episodes and then trickled them out once a week. And I thought, okay, this is better. I can deal with this. You dump a whole season on me, and I sit there and I watch it in a day, and I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Your show is done in one day. All that money, all that expense, all that hard work, and I'm done with it in a day. That
is true, and it is a real shame for some shows because the conversation's over. There's things I've loved, and I binge it, and then no one's talking about it anymore.
Yep.
I just think it depends. I think they're right to do the first 2-3 episodes though to get you hooked, rather than just one. I think back in the day when that was all there was, and you couldn't rewatch it either. You saw an episode, you had to see it at a certain time, and then you had to wait a week. Whereas at least with the Amazon model, if you really liked it, you can go and watch it again, and then maybe it's not a whole week, and you're anticipating the next episode.
Yeah. Yet I am a huge Cobra Kai fan. I'll burn it down when it comes to Cobra Kai. And they release all of that at the same time. They don't release it weekly. It's like, here you go. Here's a giant. And I'm still talking about it, a year later.
Yeah.
So that word of mouth just burns, is burning bright because people still want more Cobra Kai and love Cobra Kai.
Yeah, it's hard to predict. Definitely works better from some shows one way and some the other. I know that I don't think Stargate Universe worked weekly. I was not interested enough in the end to keep watching it, but maybe if I'd watched it all in one go, I might have got a bit more into it, maybe.
Yeah. That I have a hard time watching it now. It's like I just recently watched through SG1, and I'm gonna watch Atlantis eventually, hopefully before the end of the year. I don't know if I'll watch SGU. I just don't. Yeah. I don't know if I will. Even able to binge it, I don't know if I can watch it.
I've watched all of Atlantis. I loved that. I've watched most of SGU. SG1. I did kind of check out a bit in the last couple of seasons. Not that I don't like Ben Browder and Claudia Black, but I prefer Farscape.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I like Farscape.
Yeah. And I mean, I've spent quite a few years going to conventions and meeting some of my favourite people, so that keeps the interest going as well, I think.
Well, I
There's the excitement.
I loved Robert Carlyle. I thought Robert Carlyle. I found out Robert Carlyle was going to be in SGU, and I was like, yeah, because he played the voice of a character in a video game that I really really liked. And so when I heard he was going to be in SGU, I was like, oh, this is great. And then he went on to do whatever that Fable show. I can never remember the name of, with the fairy tales and shit.
Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time. Thank you.
I didn't watch all of that, I must admit. I couldn't get into it. I was more of a Grimm fan. They sort of come out at the same time, and I just gravitated towards the other one, because Once Upon a Time goes more into it turns into Disney, doesn't it?
Yeah, it turns into Disney.
So I liked Grimm better.
As soon as that happened, I was like, nope, I'm out. Yeah, I like this whole Rumpelstiltskin thing and all this, but no. And Dark Lord and Evil Ones and all this shit. But then you went Disney with Elsa, and I was just like, nope, bye.
Yeah. I mean, I loved the Disney movies growing up, and the fairy tales and the magic of it, but
Wasn't
they've
it
lost their
cool?
way.
Wasn't it cool that Little Red Riding Hood was a werewolf?
Yeah.
Little Red Riding Hood was a werewolf. That's cool. That's cool as shit. You know, because it takes the fable and turns it on its head, and you're like, holy shit. Okay, so it was a werewolf. It wasn't just a wolf. It was a werewolf, and it ate your grandmother, and then it bit you, and you killed it, and you became a werewolf.
Yeah.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah, well, that was the main character. One of the main characters in Grimm was basically a werewolf, or it wasn't, because they defined a werewolf as something different, but it was the Red Riding Hood myth that it started with.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah.
And then they screwed it up and went Disney, and pretty much like got rid of Red Riding Hood overnight. So
yeah. I don't know. I like the Disney tales as they are. I hate the idea that we have to make all the villains nice people. I'm not going to watch them. I'm not even interested in that.
no.
You love them because they're a villain. I don't need them to be relatable or have a sad backstory.
Yep, I was saying that on Clobburn's channel last night. I said, I want the real Harley Quinn. I don't want this carbon copy chick that's doing cocaine in a jail cell and acting like this wacky down on her luck girl. I want Harley Quinn.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole reason we love the characters as they are. That's what we want to see. You know, we can love new characters, but I don't mess with my characters. It's like with the Watch series that they did for Discworld. You know, a lot of the fan base just was so excited before and so angry after, because it's the characters that matter. The stories didn't. We liked the idea that it would be like a new series with its own storylines. It'd just be like a cop show or whatever, and it was going to be really great. And then they did something else.
Do you think that entitled is the right word? Because I don't think it is. People want to say, oh, you're entitled. You think you own that show. You think you can control that show. No, you just want really good story out of it.
No, we're the fans of the show. We're what made it popular. We just want to see it treated with love and respect. You know, the way we feel about it. You know, and honestly, fans adapt if it's really good. I've seen things like Grimm, for instance. They start off with the main character being in a relationship. Now, my personal bugbear, I hate it when they kill people. I hate it when they break people up. I don't like that at all. I don't want them put with somebody else. But they did that, and they did it so well. The narrative carried you on, and by the end of it, I'm like, killer, I want him with the other one. Because of the writing, not because I changed in any way. They don't have the ability to do that with these stories. They're just saying, well, they're different now.
Yeah.
And you get an aversion to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you get an aversion to it, absolutely. So we were talking about Stargate. I was looking for a Blu-ray set because they've got this new Blu-ray set that has everything in it. You've got the Blu-ray set of SG-1, you've got the Blu-ray set of Stargate Atlantis, and you've got the Blu-ray set of SGU.
Yeah.
There is one problem. This comes in a beautiful box. It comes in this beautiful Stargate box, and you open it up, and there's your sets lined up. When you pull the Stargate SG-1 box set out, there's Colonel O'Neill, there's Teal'c, there's Samantha Carter, and on the end is fucking Jonas Quinn. And for anybody that doesn't know, Jonas Quinn's in one season. They could have put anybody else on the front of that fucking box. Anybody. They could have had General Hammond on there. They could have had fucking. They could have had Bala and what's his name? The guy who from Farscape, Crichton. You could have had Bala and Crichton on there. You could have had anybody fucking on there. Why the fuck did you put Jonas Quinn on there? Why? Because they didn't care. They just took a production still and were like, oh, that one's good, and put it on the front of the fucking box.
That's weird.
Yeah, this was put together by someone who does not know this show at all. And you're looking at the cover and you're just like, I can't spend the money on it. I can't. Why? Because you've got Jonas Quinn on the front of the damn box.
Yeah. Yep, I get that.
Where is Daniel Jackson? Daniel Jackson's been there since the movie. He was gone for one season, and he wasn't even gone. He was an ascended being. Why? Why? Because you don't care about the product you're coming out with.
Yeah.
And Mexican Iron Man with the $4.99 super chat. How are you doing, my friend? He says, yay, it's Louise. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're doing great. Hi, Loki. Thank you so very much, Mexican Iron Man.
Hi, Mexican Iron Man.
We're gonna hit you with. We're gonna give you something this morning. You and PJ, here you go, brother. Thank you for that $4.99 super chat, and PJ, thank you for your early one. You guys keep the fires of Valhalla burning bright, and here's some Orange Fanta for you, Mexican Iron Man. Let's go. And Archer calling, yeah, that'd be like having the 13th Doctor on everything. No matter, you go to the Paul the Year and there that bitch is on the cover. Hiya. Yeah.
I kind of felt that way when Matt Smith came into it, because I did not like Matt Smith at all. Not to the point that I stopped watching it or anything, but I'm like, do I want to buy merchandise with Matt Smith on? Because he was really getting on my nerves at the time, and then they proved that they could get worse. So he kind of was like, oh well, he's he wasn't that bad. But yeah, it does. It sort of taints the stuff that comes out after. If you don't want to buy anything that includes it, like if they brought out new technical manuals or anything from Star Trek and the encyclopedias and that, I don't want anything that's got Discovery in it.
Yeah.
Or Picard. Mostly Picard, because Discovery I ignore completely, or I will be. I actually watched Discovery. I didn't think it could get worse, and it just did. That's the only thing about it that was consistent.
A dilithium baby destroyed warp travel in the universe. A baby's cry.
Yeah.
They think they're so fucking clever. Oh my god. Oh my god. So we're going to have a baby cry and it's going to destroy the warp drives in the entire universe. Isn't that like, oh my god. It's so Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And I don't want to buy any of the merchandise that includes it because that just taints the overall thing.
No, I had what did I have? That mail bundle that you get. It's not Humble Bundle. It's the box shit they send you with all the goodies in it, right? And they're like, okay, each set we're gonna send you has something to do with an era of Star Trek. I'm like, okay, I'll just quit when I get to Discovery. I'll just be like, nope, I don't want it.
Yeah.
First box I open, there's a Discovery fucking comm badge in there. I'm like, I don't want this. Second one, it's like Mikey Spock socks. I'm like, I don't want that either. And then a little Discovery pen, and I'm like, no, I'm done. Loot box, thank you. Loot crate, loot box, whatever the hell it is. Yes, I got the Star Trek loot boxes. So a bunch of people got ripped off with those too. They never got them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the last thing I had on order, which is a long while ago, was the Star Trek Encyclopedia set that came weekly. But they really sort of messed up towards the end, so I think I'm missing the last few issues. But yeah, I have Star Trek stuff everywhere. It's just not organized.
Yeah, no. As I did a walkthrough of my office. I don't even have my Star Trek stuff out anymore. I've got a ton of Star Trek stuff. I've got magazines from the 80s, the 90s. I've got stuff of Spock. All I've got up like is some pictures on the wall before you even walk into my office. I don't have my ships. I've got all the Eagle Moss ships. I've got all that. I don't want it out. I don't. I've got my little, I think I've got my DS9 over in a corner by my record player. And that's it. My little DS9 thing I got from Eagle Moss. That's it. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
Because I love DS9.
I have some pictures and some autographs up. But they're all, TOS, Voyager, TNG. So,
I saw a box set, a DS9 box set that had never been opened for $50. And I was just like, why? Why? Oh, what's DVD? No one wants it on DVD. And I'm like, that's just insane. I remember when it was like $200. You want the DS9 set? I know I paid $200. I ordered it from Amazon back in like 2008, 2009, whenever it came out. And it was like, you want it? It's $200. Son of a bitch! Damn you, Amazon.
The first TNG box sets that came out were the silver ones that were quite sort of chunky packaging, but still a lot less room than the videos, which is why we were getting them. But they were £79 per box set.
Yeah. And that's per season,
I got a couple, right? But yeah, that was per season. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a couple and then I waited until it got cheaper because, I wanted the space back from the videos, but at the same time, that was just too expensive. But then they started bringing out the slim case versions. So I've replaced Voyager twice. That's the one thing we always say, oh, it's safe with physical media. They stopped working. And I had to replace them. Whether I'd worn them out, I don't know. Possible.
Heat is not good for discs. Some people say, oh, well, you've got CDs because they did so much better than records and yada, 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 and tapes because everything would get warped. Eventually, as CDs get older, they DVDs and CDs, they stop working.
Yeah. I had got some videos that had been taped when I was a child. So I did an exercise to either upgrade them or get rid of them. And so they were 30 years old when I taped some of it to CD, and they worked fine. The DVDs I was having to replace.
Yeah.
But I think it's something to do with the player as well. It was like, the newer players are expecting something, different speeds or something.
Yeah, as the Blu-ray players upgrade, the Blu-ray discs need to be upgradable as well.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
will do that. There was a okay. So I bought this Blu-ray thing of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
And there was this scene that was missing. And I knew that scene was in there. It's a scene where the sheriff of Nottingham is on top of Maid Marian, and he like uses his feet to spread her legs.
Right.
It's not like risque. You don't see anything, but it's implying that he's trying to get her legs open.
Yeah.
And that's not there. It's suddenly not there. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then that disc updated. And I was like, how the hell does a Blu-ray update? But then, boom, it's there along with another scene of the witch in the dungeon. And this was not there before. And now it's like the full movie I remember in the movie theater is finally there. And
It's
I
fine
don't
when
know.
it goes in that direction. It's when they start changing it in the other direction.
Yes.
That's the problem. No, I've got. I still watch the original Star Wars. I will not. I do not watch the edited versions, although I bought them because the original versions were the original theatrical versions were the
Yes.
special features. Nobody bought them for that upgrade. They bought them purely for that original version on DVD.
Yep. And those are the ones. Those are the ones that came in the special box thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I got the same thing. So I had to rebuy the first movie. I found the first movie at a game store that had that special disc, and I bought it because I had to replace. I don't know what happened to my original, but I have Empire and Return. So getting that original, I never thought I'd find that again. I looked at it at one point, and then someone was like $170 or $180 or whatever, and I was like, God, I'm not spending that on that.
Although they would make a killing if they just outputted them to DVD again. But we want the digitally remastered but unedited version on DVD, really, don't we?
PJ, $5 super chat says, now I'm thinking next time we invite Loki on, instead of rambling, we can have a surprise guest. Maybe Corin Nemec. It's Jonas Quinn. Just kidding, Loki. I like him. Believe it or not, I like Jonas. It's just like, I don't understand why you'd have him on the cover when he was only in one season. Jonas was good enough. He was not Daniel Jackson, but he had a charm to him. He was the know-it-all guy, and he could remember everything. I liked the situation they put him in where he was like against his own world, kind of, because they had this giant weapon they were building that could blow up the whole world, and he's not down with that. Daniel Jackson sacrificed himself, so I know there's PJ going, I know, Loki, I know. So I don't know. I thank you for the $5 super chat, PJ.
Yeah.
Have you ever run into anything like that where you've been watching a show and suddenly, kind of like the way they did with Kes and Voyager, they dump Kes out into out of the show and bring in Seven, and suddenly you've got a new character.
Yeah, I liked Seven, but I didn't like them getting rid of Kes. I don't know. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, I guess. I don't know. I think that's sort of the major. I guess Tasha Yar leaving. Ezri Dax coming in. I didn't like that. I didn't dislike Ezri, but I just hated that they killed Jadzia off.
Yeah. Yeah, I was after everything with Warp and the wedding, and I was so happy. I'm like, oh my god, Warp's grown so much as this character. He's like my ultimate Star Trek character is Warp, and then they do that, and he's like, back to raw growly motherfucker again, and yeah, I hated that too. I really did.
Yeah, but I did like Ezra. It's not like I didn't like the new character. It's just I didn't like that that's the way the story went. But of course, it was for reasons outside of the storytelling.
Yeah, she wanted out and she wanted money. She was like, no, pay me to keep me, or I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna do. I can't remember what the hell show it was. She went and did a TV show with somebody, and it was Becker, and was like, oh, I'm gonna be making this money over here doing this, and then that only lasted like 2 seasons. So
Yeah, she tells it slightly differently. that there was a lot more going on, and that she was basically saying she wanted equal pay. I don't think you know what it's like when
yes,
they'd let the guys go off and do films, and they would say she couldn't do it. And I think she had a bit of a problem with one of the execs there. So she had her perspective on it. They wouldn't cave on the pay or whatever, but it's just a shame because it badly impacts the show, and we've had that as well in The Expanse, where outside influences have affected it, with Supernatural and Lucifer, where the lockdowns have affected it, and you try and ignore it because you know that it wasn't part of the show, but it's still and it impacts it a little bit for you enjoying it.
do you think that they should just say, here you go, you can have what you want, or do you think that they should hold to listen, this is the way it is? Obviously with Jadzia, with her character, it was a little different, but what do you think?
I think they should be fair. I don't think Hollywood is fair. So
No.
it's it just depends on case by case, doesn't it? It depends which side's actually being unreasonable. Do I think that they should just be able to say, well, I'm a star and you can give me more money? Definitely not. But if it's a case of as implied, everyone else is being paid more, I just want equal pay and equal privileges. That's kind of reasonable if you're a popular character.
Agreed. Mexican Iron Man with 9.99 super chat. On the afterlife of Star Trek, I say Mexican Iron Man welcomes Cass and Jadzia into my personal holodeck for a special episode called Giggity to the Stars. Mexican Iron Man, you're crazy. The chick that played Cass, absolutely insane. I don't know if you know about anything that happened to her.
I'm aware of some of it. I met her. Before that, I met her. She was at a convention. She clearly had a few issues. Her mother was with her. Her mother had a few issues. Yeah, that spiraled very badly, and I did hear about some of the weirder stuff after.
Yeah. Project Storytime, Jennifer Line is nuts.
Yeah, I think she had medication problems based on what I've seen of her.
Who is your favorite? Who's your favorite character in Star Trek?
Oh.
I know
I'm
that's
not
such a
great with
hard
the favorites. Yeah, I find favorites so hard. I don't know. So as part of fandom, whenever I've been so I belong to a local group, and I've done a writing role play group online. I always pick the doctors, so probably the doctor characters are the ones that I gravitate to. Having said that, I always really like Data and Wolf. Garak, Quark. I've been called a Ferengi before now. Any of the ones that are more unusual, I guess, that aren't necessarily ones that don't fit in, like me, I guess. I'm a Trekkie. Who's the nicest person I've met? Oh. That's so hard. There's a lot. My first thought's Alice Krieg, because the first fan convention that I went to, and the first time I'd stayed away from home with friends, she was a guest there, and she was just really warm and friendly, and she wanted to sit with in the audience to watch the others, and we had a picture taken with her. So that's sort of a really good memory. So that's sort of the that comes to mind. But I would also, perhaps it's not Star Trek, but Michael Sheard was Admiral Ozzel in Star Wars, and Mr. Bronson in Grange Hill in the UK, so he was very well known over here. And he came to the conventions that I go to annually while he was alive, and he would lead the parties. He would try and come around and talk to every single person. He was there to have a good time. He was part of that convention, and just such a lovely person. So perhaps him as well. But it's a hard question. So it's always easier to say which ones are a bit funny and not as nice, and I don't want to go down that route.
Yeah. Speaking of Star Trek, I feel like I can't bring up Star Trek without bringing up the Orville these days.
Yeah.
Do you think that another production can come in and stand in for Star Trek, considering what's going on with Star Trek? Do you think that what Seth MacFarlane has done is kind of tried to save Star Trek in the Orville?
I love the Orville. It's an interesting one, because I've often thought that had he been put in charge and he'd made the Orville Star Trek, I'd have been saying that's not Star Trek. That humour shouldn't be in there. But because it's not, and because it's also its own thing, and because it really is a love letter to Star Trek, which the new series most definitely are not, it just has become that, because it does sort of stand in for it, and it does get it, and it's proven that it, all the things they say they can't do, you can do it, and you can do it with a good story. So
I agree. I've heard the argument. I wish CBS had said yes to Seth, and I'm like, no, I'm glad they didn't. I'm absolutely positively glad they didn't, because he can do what he does uninhibited, and it's not called Star Trek, and people love it for what it is.
Yes. Yeah, no judgment. So whatever they do the next series, well, it's his series, so I'm along for the ride. I'm not going to say, oh, that shouldn't be there, or whatever, as long as it's good. And
yeah.
You watch the first series and like, yeah, that was pretty good, but where's it going to go? It's like, no, it got better. It actually really got better in the second series. So fingers crossed it keeps going that way.
Does that mean, though, that we need to have a hands-off when it comes to Star Trek? That we need to just let it be, and let it be what it always was, and not have anything new or anything like that? Because that again brings up the argument, well, are we just being picky? And I don't think we are.
No.
I hate Burnham. I hate what they did to Picard. Killing Picard and making him a robot. What the hell are y'all thinking? And then Discovery is just a fucking hot mess of Burnham. Burnham.
Yep.
And it's like that's not ever what Star Trek was about. Even TOS, it was the trifecta. It was Kirk, Spock, and Bones. Yet everybody else kind of there, but it was always Kirk, Spock, and Bones. Those were your main three. They were always together. They were always running and gunning. And even that was a team.
I think they could have done something different and darker if they wanted, and still had all the diversity and inclusion, but actually made them decent characters and put in a decent story, and the fan base would have gone with it. I think it's absolutely possible with a good writing team, and that's not what they've got. I mean, the basic plots don't hold together. Never mind even the Star Trek part of it. You know, yes, that annoys me, and by season 3 it infuriates me, but I don't know, even watching it, when I watched the first series, a lot of my friends had said, oh god, it's awful, and we've stopped watching it, and I went in with really, really low expectations, and I'm like, yeah, it's not that bad. It's like not Star Trek, but it's watchable, it's pacey, it doesn't really hold together, but it's not even good sci-fi. You know, I could watch it on that level, but then they started doubling down on like, no, we're really Star Trek, and then that's when I got annoyed. So because it's not even slightly. But I watch a lot of sci-fi shows. I like a lot of other sci-fi shows. Not everything has to be Star Trek.
No, it doesn't. Do you think that it would that Discovery, if it was just Discovery and it didn't have Star Trek in the name and they didn't have the Star Trek, take Star Trek out of Discovery, do you think it would have worked?
It would have been a terrible B movie kind of sci-fi fantasy, but no one would have cared. You know, I've watched bad stuff. Like, you know, I've watched some cheesy sci-fi before now. I would have probably watched it. It's not anywhere near as good as it should be just for a sci-fi series. PJ was doing all of the Dark Matter Mondays. That is so far above that series on a just a sci-fi level. You know, The Expanse is, I like the Lost in Space reboot. You know, so I don't, you know, and I loved that. So I think it can be done.
See, now Purple Valkyrie's teasing me because she brings up Quentin Tarantino. I wanted that. I wanted to see the Klingons with their guns like creeping through the ship to the 70s music, you know, bow now now, dun 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 now. And I wanted to see that. You want bad job, motherfucking Klingon. I really wanted to see that. I wanted Samuel L. Jackson in there as the head of the Klingons. Like, we're gonna come over to that ship and we're gonna blow your ass apart. I would love that. I would have loved that.
That could have been fun. Just it's down to the script though, isn't it? If you've got a good film, then there's nothing wrong with doing a different style or a different take on it. I don't think that and I think that shows in Discovery in season 2 and 3 where they try and add bits from the Orville, like the lift humor. Look, we can do that too. Like, no, you can't, and it doesn't belong there, and it's not funny. They just don't get it. It's like you can't graft bits from other shows in and hope it works.
No, you can't. And Dean Krantz with $10 super chat. What they have done to my Star Trek is unreal. TOS had a Kirk, a commander with 20 plus years of service, draw upon a command group that had experience he could draw upon. The backstory had issues.
Yeah.
And I wish they had finished the 5-year mission. They should have done that. They canceling it after 3 seasons was the dumbest mistake ever. I would have loved to see the end of the 5-year mission, and then get the movie. And you know what? Say what you will about the first Star Trek movie. It had some really good moments, especially, you know, Chekhov going photon torpedo. I love that. I absolutely love that. They slowed everything down, and Chekhov's it's just like, yes, all right.
Yeah, they've lost so much. Star Trek Continues was probably the closest we've had, and it's not perfect because it's a fan film, but it was done with a lot of love, and I think that really shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And welcome, Ords. Ords boards in the chat. Mods, if you could throw a link out for Ords' channel. Ords has a really kick-ass gaming channel. He's kicking ass and taking names. Good morning, brother. If you, I'm gonna give you another hard question here, and you probably hate me. If you had to walk away with just one show out of all of it, not just Star Trek, but all of it, what are you? This is all you can. Just all you can watch. This is it. This is all you're gonna get for the rest of your life. What are you gonna walk away with?
Oh, can I just say Star Trek in general?
Yeah,
no,
You
I'm
can
going to pick a series.
Yeah, you can just lump it all together. Yeah,
it would be Star Trek, the real Star Trek. Like, even if it was the only thing I could ever watch, I'm not watching Discovery again. No, Star Trek. That's the thing that got me into fandom. It got me going to conventions and meeting people. The best friends I've ever had have been made through Star Trek. It got me writing. You know, it got me. I got to meet a lot of my favorite stars, and they're not just the ones in Star Trek, because once you start going to conventions, there's other people there. Yeah, that really, it's so much a part of my life. I can't. That's why it's so hard to detach from what they're calling Star Trek now. You can't walk away from it. It's too much a part of you.
You know, I went by the convention when I was in Vegas, and it was dead.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that a Star Trek convention, and people could say, "Well, oh, it's the coup, you bastard." No, this was open. This was people could have traveled. I think we had more people at the Fandom meetup. It was sad, and this is that sad thing to see when you love something so much and you want it to be this great thing. And you know, fans are passionate, and we're passionate for a reason.
Yeah.
We love what we love. You love Star Trek. I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek so much. I'll watch that first movie. I'll watch Star Trek 5. And, you know, I give me your fear and pain, and you will be stronger. Oh my God, Cybok, dude, go away, you bearded bastard.
I don't mind that film. I think you and I, like, between us, we love every single episode, because I'm pretty sure that the bits that I love are the bits that you don't love, and vice versa. You know, we might acknowledge all of it, but yeah, that's why it's so great, is because you can be on that complete opposite side and still respect the other side.
Yes, absolutely, and not get angry about it. What does God need with a starship? I'm just, and I've heard all kinds of stuff, like it's a dream, like the whole thing's a dream, and it's Kirk's dream while they're at Yosemite, and all kinds of shit. But I love 2. I love Khan. This is City Alpha 5. I love 3. I love the fact that Doc Brown is a Klingon.
Yeah.
I love that. When he pulls his gun out and blasts his gunner, I love that scene. I love all that. I love 4. I love 4. A little too much
Yeah.
LDS in the 60s. LDS. Oh yeah. We were at Berkeley. So it's like I love it. I love it. I wouldn't change anything.
I'm pretty sure I can do that word for word while it's on. That and the 3 proper Star Wars films.
Yes.
The real Star Wars. Yeah, I watched them so many times. Yeah, it was Star Wars was also my go-to through school and college. On a Sunday, I'd put the original trilogy on just about every week while I did my homework, which means I can quote it quite a lot.
Yes. Nuclear vessels.
Yeah.
Commander Pavel Chekhov, Starfleet. What are you doing here, Commander? Of course he's a Rusky. But it's not just the show, like you said. It's going to a convention. It's sitting down with people and hanging out. It's talking. It's meeting people. It's all that great fun stuff that goes with that I think we're losing that. We've lost that great convention in Vegas, and it was just dead.
Yeah, the big Star Trek conventions have become cash cows. We have what do they call it? The creation one that comes over. Destination. We don't go. I belong to a Star Trek club, so in normal times we meet weekly, and we used to dress up a lot and do role playing and stuff. But it's in recent years we've just sort of we just meet up, play board games, and do quizzes and stuff. But we don't go to those. The ones that we go to are fan run. I've been going to the same convention in February for 20 years. And we spend the first half just saying hello to everyone because it's a family. The attendee, we don't worry about who the guests are much now because the attendees we've known for 20 years and we know them for every year. So that community doesn't change. And I think we probably avoid talking about some of this stuff a little bit because we don't want to disagree with them. I don't want to have an argument with someone who really likes Discovery because they're trying to convince me. So we just talk about the old stuff. But it's a lovely atmosphere at that one. But it is a very, very, very much a fan run, and it's general sci-fi now because CBS started getting a bit funny about what you do and don't call things.
Yes.
But they were a ship for Starfleet Command of the UK. For the UK, it was the National Fan Club, and we were a ship where we are, and the convention was a ship, and they started doing their own conventions, and now they run conventions every year.
Okay, explain this to me. Explain this to me from Mark. No discussing BSG.
He wants to wind me up because he knows I don't like it. I loved the original Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
It
had a charm.
That was
it had
my
a very,
era.
very unique charm to it. I grew up
Yes.
with that, so I totally get that. Yes. When I heard there was going to be a female Starbuck, I flipped my shit, and then I kind of saw her, and I was like, okay, she's playing Starbuck, so I was okay with it.
I don't like gender swapping.
No.
I do not believe that a woman playing a man is the same thing as a strong female. It's not as it's still a woman just playing a man. But that wasn't my objection to it. When I watched the pilot, I hated the little things. I hated that they made Zach a wimp. I hated that they got rid of the women that were actually in it to gender swap some great characters. I hate that they made Colonel Ty some awful old drunk. And by the time I got to the end of that pilot, I'm like, no, I'm out. It's Army Boot Camp. They've taken out every single bit of originality from that series. That series was almost fantasy, and we're colonial warriors. They're not perfect, but they had a sense of honor, and there was a sense of alienness and futuristic. And what I was seeing was American Army Boot Camp, which has its place, but not in my Battlestar Galactica. So I was out. And I know, and like it's the pilot, and it changes, and I know, and everybody loves it, and I accept that. But we've had some of the guests, and I love some of the actors. I love them in other things, but I love them. And they've come to conventions, and like everyone's really excited, and they're talking about it, and it all sounds great, but it still doesn't sound like Battlestar Galactica to me.
I can respect that. I totally can respect that. There's parts of that series I absolutely hate, especially after the writer's strike. I think they kind of never came back like they should have. Dag Outlaw says, Loki, thank you for having Louise Sparrow. No, I thank Louise for coming on. She's simply wonderful. Thank you for coming on here today. Big thank you to you.
Great. He introduced me to the Witcher card game that he was playing. Very patiently explained, yeah. And obviously his books are incredible. So he's very humble, but yeah, he's great. So the whole community is great, and that's what draws people to it, is the fact that this is what I would say is real fandom. It's sharing things that you love and being able to be excited about it. Twitter was a bit of a shock to me, because I'd been on Twitter for a while, but I hadn't looked for any sort of Star Trek stuff, because I was already in Federation space, and say in real life I'm part of a club, so I wasn't looking for a Trek community. And I came late to Discovery and Picard and that, because it wasn't showing over here except on streaming, and I wasn't looking at the channels. And I made a comment on Twitter, and oh my god.
Yeah. Twitter's not a real place anyway.
Well, no, but I was using it mostly for Supernatural watch parties.
Yes.
So when it played over here, it was a lot later than there, because they wouldn't bring it over for a year. And what they did was, the show actually, when it came to E4, they were really good about engaging with the audience at the time. So it was a real event, and we all sort of talked about it on Twitter, and it was very predictable. It was mostly all Dean, and oh my god, that's disgusting. That's most of the tweets, but it was a fun community, and they've got their issues around certain ships and things, but I'd never experienced that in Star Trek. In a Star Trek community, in all the years of going to conventions and meeting people, the kind of reaction that you get just for saying, yeah, I didn't like that. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mexican Iron Man with $4.99 super chat says, yay, Luis loves the original Battlestar. Thank you so much, Mexican Iron Man. And thank you, Dean Krantz, who threw out a $10 super chat earlier and who said what they have done in my Star Trek is unreal. Thank you so much, Dean. Thank you, Mexican Iron Man, for your support. You guys keep the fires of Valhalla burning bright, and we're going to throw you guys $1 this morning. Skol!
A dollar? I've never seen a dollar. Nobody's got a dollar. Let us see the dollar. There it is. It's beautiful. Take your hat off, boy. That's a dollar bill.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to get out of here. We're almost 5 minutes past the hour. Is there anything else you would like to say before we get out of here, Louise?
No, just thank you. This is Valhalla, and your streams have become a highlight of my days, especially during lockdown. And it's just been great, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of Valhalla. Thank you for help making Valhalla the place it is. I always love getting to talk to you when we do our bonfires. So this is a kind of treat. We haven't done a bonfire yet this month, so it's one of the things we're gonna have to do soon. Planning on a weekend, something. We'll get a bonfire going and have a great discussion. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Thank you all for being here in chat. You guys all keep the fires of Valhalla burning bright. It means everything to me to get to do this show and to do this series. This series has been fun. You're going to be one of the last people on Women of the Fandom Wednesdays. Certainly not the least. You have been one of the best guests I've had. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, we will be back soon. I don't know if it's going to be tonight, but we will be back soon. Everyone, take care. Have a great one. Be excellent to each other. And always speak friend to enter. Later, everybody.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe. And hammer that notification bell.